So tonight we have James Dundon. James has been a radio announcer for 20 years, worked for the BBC, Global Radio, Classic FM, you name it, he's done it all. Now, on his own time as a volunteer, he created Mechanical Music Radio. Everyone who is on the staff is volunteer just to bring the joys of the happiest music on earth to everyone around the world. So we're very proud of James for doing this, and I think you're going to have some fun going behind the scenes and see just how he does it. He has 7 of his own mechanical musical instruments, and he tries to do at least 30 events a year with mechanical music, so he's certainly spreading the joy. And I'd like James to tell all of us a little bit about himself, and then we'll get into the presentation. Thank you for joining us tonight, James. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob, for the opportunity. And this is a great initiative to see you all dialed into this monthly meeting and, discovering something great that's going on in the mechanical music world. So, as Bob says, I've been on the radio for 20 years full time, probably a bit longer if I go back to my hospital radio days, which is how we get into broadcasting in the UK. Most people who become radio announcers start off as hospital radio presenters, which is good because the listeners can't get away from you. And then I've been through various programs through my career. I've actually just been on air in the last couple of hours. I've done a sort of an evening program between 6 and 10 p.m. our time on the BBC tonight, and I've driven home as fast as I can. And here I am now. It's about 10 past midnight here in the UK. And I've got an early morning alarm tomorrow to get back into work because tomorrow's a special day for where I live in Cornwall. It is St. Piran's Day, our patron saint. Um, they don't give us a bank holiday. We're not that important, but we do celebrate by having a pasty, Cornish pasty, and plenty of ale. So I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, less about the pasties and the drink and more about me and radio. So, Mechanical Music Radio is live 24 hours a day. We are about to celebrate our 6th birthday on the 1st of April. That was the date I chose to launch it. It's purely coincidental that the station was just about ready to launch on the 1st of April, but I thought it was quite a good stunt because no one could quite believe that we'd start doing a radio station that would play this sort of music. And radio's always been my love. Well, in fact, radio and organ music. From the age of 7, I had a twin cassette deck in my bedroom, and I used to play tape recordings of organs. And in between the tracks, I would speak into a microphone that was plugged in. As a young child, I'd be there announcing the music I'd be about to play. And then I graduated with broadcasting at university, and since then, I've been lucky enough to keep working in radio despite the fact that employment is less and less. And I've been through a redundancy about 5 years ago. Where a radio station was losing its local programming. So the building was shut down. We all lost our jobs. And that was when I went to the BBC. And recently, the BBC are restructuring local radio, and there's a lot of changes ongoing, shall we say. So it's a funny old career, really, because you sort of live and die by your audience figures, and also just in general the will of what management wants to do in the broadcasting world. And I guess when I set up Mechanical Music Radio, it was because I wanted to be in control of something. I wanted to program the music and coach a team of presenters myself and manage them and do something a little bit different. And it was just a bonus that no one else had done it. There was a theatre, very successful theatre organ station, as you'll all know from the American Theatre Organ Society, and various church organ stations, but no one had done a full service mechanical music station. And radio is always really popular. I mean, it's a medium that I absolutely love. I just like how personal it is and how you can have it on in the background. It's not like TV where you sit there intently and listen to it. You can have it on in the background if you want to, and sort of dip in and out. Or, if something's a bit more interesting or something you enjoy, you turn up and enjoy it. I think it's a wonderful thing. You push a button and get instant music and entertainment. And here in the UK, around 89% of the population still consume radio, which is you know, really heartening to see, you know, a medium that is outdated by most things these days, TV, YouTube, streaming platforms, radio is still strong. It's not old-fashioned. It's still an important part of many people's lives, simply because you can multitask while listening to it, get about your day, do your morning commute, whatever. So just you can see the studio behind me, but just as a little introduction, here's a quick 60-second video of me showing you the studio behind. So this is Mechanical Music Radio, our humble home, which is in a spare room in my house, because you know, I always, when I started this radio station, I wanted it to be ran as cheaply as possible, so there was no point getting any premises for it or anything like that. All our presenters can do programs remotely by dialing in, and we just need one computer to run the station. So this is the main playout system. I'll show you more of this later on in the presentation, but just to give you an overview, at the minute it's playing Orpheus in the Underworld on the Hufnagel's Bruder. If we have a turn that up. Fantastic. Sounds good. And over here we've got our streamer, which shows that we are on air. We've been on air for 5 minutes. The reason is because I've just done a Windows 10 update on the machine just before recording this presentation, because I decided the machine was getting a bit creaky and old. Up here there is a compressor giving a light compression to our output just to make it sound a little more beefy. And down here on the fader desk we've got various things, tape cassette decks, different things over here in the rack. Record player under there, plenty of organ records here. Look, if we have a little look, it's you know, things to pick out and play if we want to. I've got some CDs down here which I desperately need to load onto the system as well. Always something to do. And you'll notice if I actually take the desk off air at the minute, I'll just take it off air so we're safe to fade things up. If I fade up the microphone, you'll notice the Mic Live light comes on when I fade it up and down. Isn't that clever? There you go. This clock I rescued from a skip from a radio station that I once worked at. Isn't it beautiful? I just think it's just a radio station clock. Obligatory on-air sign there. And I've got my emails and different things coming in on the admin computer here. This computer can also go live like this machine as a backup when I need to do a Windows update or there's some other problem. But usually the only problem are the flaming Windows 10 updates. What else can I tell you? I don't know really. Should we just have a listen to see what it does? If I put the desk back on air so we can hear what's going on. This is the main fader that the output comes out of. And we're in the final throes of Orpheus with the can-can.
Music Radio.
So there's a little demonstration of it playing a song, followed by what we call a sweep, a little ident from the voiceover into the next piece of music. We'll tell you all about how this system works in just a moment as the presentation continues, live here from Mechanical Music Radio HQ. Oh, and just before you go, a little bit of organ memorabilia. We got all sorts of things we collected through the years. I'm sure your place looks exactly the same, in that you've got all these things. I don't know quite. I mean, honestly, the things that you pick up, it's quite wonderful, isn't it? That was the most recent thing that I got for Christmas from somebody. Isn't that wonderful?
I mean, we've seen it all now, including inflatable microphone, just in case the actual one, well, I don't know what you do with that, but there you go. Anyway, there's a little look behind the scenes at Mechanical Music Radio, on air now.
I really need to have a bit of a tidy up, really. But anyway, that gives you an idea of my small. This is the box room in my house. It's only a tiny Cornish cottage that I live in, and this is the smallest room where we've crammed the radio station. Now, I launched Mechanical Music Radio just because I wanted to make things a bit more accessible. I think for mechanical music as a genre to survive, we all have the responsibility to do our bit, whether it be showing instruments at public events or supporting and bettering our societies, uploading good quality videos to YouTube and social media. All of these things can attract a new audience. And we've all been at an event as an organ owner or an enthusiast listening to an organ, and someone comes up to it going, "This is amazing. What's this?" And imagine the millions of people out there who might be interested. It's always difficult to know where to start to encourage someone into such a massive genre of not just musical instruments, but also history. There's a lot to learn, isn't there? We've all got more to learn, but when it comes to encouraging new people, I think it just shows that there should be an appetite for the public, all ages, for this sort of music because it's magic. It can really connect. If you think about how popular some of the records and cassettes done by Decca were in the 60s and 70s, Decca would invest in recording mechanical music as heavily as the bands and singers of the era. So it's all about trying to keep mechanical music in the public domain. If you can print out any of our leaflets, our radio station leaflets, or maybe actually I could pay for a box to be printed locally and dropped off at a COAA or MBSI meeting just for you all to help yourselves, I'd be delighted because that's what really spreads the word about the radio station among the public, because people go, "What's this?" And then they go, "How can I find out more?" And you might give them a society leaflet for the COAA, which is absolutely fine, but they might need to hear a bit more music first before they, really fall in love. And that's where you can give them a leaflet and say, "Look, a radio station that plays this." And they'll be like, "Oh, I'll listen to that." Right, in part 2 of our video tour, we're going to show you what we offer the audience, you, at Mechanical Music Radio.
Through the day, every hour is different. So if we click on our programs, we can see our schedule. As you can see, every single hour has a different theme. And I've tried to line the themes up with what I think it will be the different worldwide audience listening, or themes that maybe complement each other and show off different styles of mechanical music. On our website, you can listen again to any program, the latest episode, and if you click into the section, you can listen to at least a month's worth of shows. So the best of the US is something that I'm guessing will interest you all, which happens at midnight GMT, which is, I suppose around 7 p.m, so your evening time. And if we have a look down through band organs and more, and then we go down through the schedule, through the night, to the daytime in the UK, depending on when you're around, of course, all these programs are available and listen again. But there's lots of different themes, from everything from the power hour, which is instruments to impress, things with a bit of bite, to things like the happy hour, where we play an hour of self-playing instruments, doing some toe tapping, more modern things. We've also got theme shows for the Dutch, and for you guys in the States. Fairground sounds very popular. We'll come on and talk about that in a minute. And we have different presenters every night as well. So if I just go to the top, we'll show you the presenters. And they all say hi to you this evening. In fact, we got one of them here on this call. I'll tell you about him in a minute. Paul Courage is on a Monday evening. Paul is fabulous. He's a TV director. He's done shows through the years like Dancing on Ice and Piers Morgan's Life Stories, very popular TV shows, and a great, great person. And Paul loves continental German fair organs like Ruth's and Bruders. I know you're all partial to that sort of thing as well in the States. There's many of them over there. So Paul is on a Monday evening from 19 to 2100 hours. Very soon in March, we'll begin repeating our evening programming at 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning GMT, which means you'll get a chance to hear them at a more convenient time in your evening, which is good. So yeah, do check out Paul. Never heard of this guy. I'm on a Tuesday night. What we do every other Tuesday, we do a show called Tuesday Night Live, where we have fully interactive games and topics to discuss, and we have some really interesting interviews on the show as well. All the episodes available on our YouTube channel to replay. In fact, I wasn't expecting to show you this, but let's have a quick look and see if we can find it easily. If you search for Mechanical Music Radio on YouTube, and you will see all of our Tuesday Night Live shows. So there you go. We did one recently about the Andreas Ruth coming to your great lands, the Kunkel's organ, wood carving. That was with Bob Yorberg. Very good episode. Amersham Fair Organ Museum in London, and a cap organ that was restored by Bruce Newman in the States, and different bits and pieces. There's hours of programming there, different themes, interviews, all of them, different programs that we've done. A great selection there, so that'll keep you going. But you can join us every first and third Tuesday of the month for the latest Tuesday Night Live. Now, Ian Wolstenholme is a fantastic broadcaster and award winner, and he has done many podcasts through the years centering on keyboard instruments, in particular pipe organs like theatre organs, Wurlitzers, Comptons. So we kind of mix it up on a Wednesday night with Ian and play a few of those instruments alongside the mechanical music you're used to hearing. On a Thursday, Graham is a great fan of fairground organs and concert organs, stuff with a big sound. So you can check out Graham on a Thursday evening. He's great company, and he plays a great selection of things. Bob is brand new to Mechanical Music Radio. He's only done a couple of shows with us so far. We are delighted to have Bob on the team after interviewing him about wood carving. I mean, with a voice like that, you can't not get him on the radio. So Bob will keep you company every Friday. Of course, the program repeated 2 to 400 hours GMT as well. Johnny Clays is also new to Mechanical Music Radio. He's from Amica, the Automatic Society. Sorry, not Amica, Mecha Musica. Sorry, thinking on my feet here. Johnny, he's from Mecha Musica. Johnny is also the owner of Arbiro's Palace, which is a super collection of dance organ style instruments, and very knowledgeable about the Dutch instruments. And wonderful Glenn, who's been on Mechanical Music Radio for the last couple of years. He's taken a break recently, but he will be returning within the next few weeks to his program, and I'm so excited to hear his voice back on again. So on our website, you can learn all about the presenters and our shows. And if you want to listen again to any of the particular programs, it's very simple. Just go onto our homepage and you can have a little look there at all the things. So, for instance, if you want to listen to, I don't know, Party Saturday, if you want some up-tempo things, there you go. Look at all these previous episodes. There's a couple every week, because some of the episodes we do more than 2 a day. So, you know, going back to December there, if you want to hear some Christmas music. Meanwhile, the things like the Mechanical Music Show, which is on every day, there you go, look, 26th, 25th, 24th, going all the way back. So you can enjoy, for as long as you like, a great mix of sounds on our website as per usual.
So people always say, where does the music come from? I mean, you'd be amazed the amount that's been recorded through the years professionally, whether it be records or cassettes, and then more recently CDs. I mean, it's mind-boggling how much has been recording. Most organ owners have had their instruments recorded, and I've been very, very lucky to have the support of those organ owners in playing my music. I try and get permission where I can. I was always worried people would assume that the radio station would damage CD sales, but I've always said that actually it's a good advert if you've got new recordings out, and the amount of messages I get from people saying, "Oh, where can I buy this recording?" So it it gives a taste of the point is we don't spend an hour playing every track back to back. You only hear one as a sample, and then it goes on. And obviously, as I said before, there's a light compression on the station. And I like the compression, I think, because it makes it sound like radio. If you listen to a classical music station, they'll have compression. It won't be like listening to a CD recording, because it's radio, and it's good to you don't want to compress all the levels to till they're blitzed. You just want everything just so it's got a presence and it's got a little bit of a zing on the top end and the bottom end, just to make it sound a bit more sparkly. So it's less about compressing it to the same levels, because quiet bits you want to be a little bit quieter, but at the same time you want the station to be professional and all, particularly if people are listening on headphones. I don't want anyone's eardrums being blasted out by the wrong audio. So I've been very careful how I've loaded everything. There's light compression on there, and that means that people can't copy the music. You can tell a mile off if someone's recorded off output and are using it for their own gain. Luckily, I've never had that as a case. And also, we put jingles in between. When I say jingles, those little presenter idents, voiceover idents, or the jingles in between each one, just because I've tried it without. We've tried like 3-second silence or running the tracks back to back, but I think it gets a bit confusing as to what you're listening, whether it's a medley or, or is this the same instrument, or are we onto something else? So I think it just helps separate things out a little bit. And I wanted it to sound like a radio station. It was my belief, in the UK, we'd run things between tracks. You don't just run things back to back. I don't want it to sound like a playlist. We want it to sound like a radio station. So some people like the jingles, some people don't. I've had all the feedback through the years, and I'm always willing to listen. But I have tried other things, and I think, how we sound at the minute is my vision and what I think would sound quite good. Right, we're going to get a little bit more technical here and show you how this playout software works. And this is an example of software that most radio stations in the industry would use. Obviously, there's different brands of software. They're all slightly different. But this is how most radio stations will run these days.
Mechanical Music Radio.
Right, hello, it's James here. I'm just going to fade down the output. Don't worry, the listeners listening to Mechanical Music Radio at this moment won't be able to hear me talking to you. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what you've just seen. This is obviously a playlist. I don't know if you've ever used iTunes or Spotify. You build a playlist and put songs in a certain order. But obviously this is a little more advanced in that we've got all these different sort of, things, really. I mean, let's just concentrate on the music first of all. This hour of music that we've just played is called the Variety Hour. And each style of instrument we play, I've color-coded on the system to tell me, basically, at a glance, because I've done this for so long, what sort of type of music is where. And to say that we've got a good spread in this hour is quite obvious, because it's the Variety Hour. So, for instance, street organs are in green. So there's a street organ, Adrian. There's another street organ, the Pipenberger. We've got American band organs or fair organs in blue. So Bill Nunn's Merengue, the Peacock Merengue, and Bill Nunn's Who Guys, of course, fantastic instrument. I'm so sorry to hear about Bill. Absolutely devastating news. We also have other instruments like in gold here, the Kunkel's organs. So this is sort of bigger instruments with a big sound, maybe. Some of these in the darker colours here, the darker brown, these are archive tracks that we've digitised from records and cassettes. Dance organs in gold, sort of orangey gold. And then we've got orchestrions and pianos in purple. Don't worry, I'm not going to test you on this. It doesn't really matter. I'm just giving you an example of when I look at an hour, I can see what sort of mix we've got coming up just from the colours on the screen. So obviously makes no difference to the listener and what they're hearing. It's just handy for me to know that we're playing the right mix of music as promised on the advertised hour. So this is the variety hour that we're playing at the minute. What I can do is off air, this won't go out on air, I can preview some of the things so we can listen to songs. So this, see, it's playing in a preview player here. This is the Dry Pruiken, and as we know, it's in dark red, so we know that's an archive track, as in from records. It's an old recording of it. And we're about to play that now after this variety hour sweep, which is basically a sweep, is what's known in the radio term as a sweeper, which gets you from one piece of music to the next. And we have these vocal announcements from a voiceover called Scott. He's been the voice of Mechanical Music Radio since we launched 6 years ago. And he is about to identify the station and say it's the variety hour. So we'll fade up the Pied Piper.
The Variety Hour.
Mechanical Music Radio.
All right, I'll fade down the output again and speak to you and tell you what's going on. So we are now at the end of the variety hour. As you've just heard, we've got different sweeps. As I was saying, that's basically what we identify the radio station with. Over the years, I've tried various different things. I've tried playing songs back to back. I've tried sort of 3 seconds silence in between each track to make it sound like a CD. But in my opinion, it's a radio station, and in order for it to flow and sound like a radio station, I believe the sweeps in between are essential. We did originally get a few complaints about them in the early days because people obviously weren't used to hearing such things between organ music, but people go along with it now. In fact, when I took them out, people were complaining, saying the station sounded like something was going wrong. So you can't please everyone. So if we have a little listen, for instance, this is off air. Don't worry, I'm not playing these over the songs for the listener. So we have
Mechanical Music Radio. 24 hours a day. Mechanical Music Radio. Mechanical Music Radio. Mechanical Music Radio.
As you can hear, he's saying the same thing, but in different ways. I've got blooming tons of those going round and round. There's some longer bumpers as well, promoting our Listen Again service.
You're listening to Mechanical Music Radio Live. But did you know you can listen to any show at any time on our website at mechanicalmusicradio.com?
So there you go. So we've got different ways of saying different things. We've also got our iconic jingles. For instance, a dance organ version. Or an orchestrion version. And we usually start each hour with a full version of the jingle because it's a recognizable piece of music. You know, unashamedly, we're a radio station. We're going to do things that radio stations do. We're not just a jukebox of music. We want to create sort of the feeling of good old-fashioned radio with presenters, with jingles, and with a great mix of music. Now, we're coming up now to midnight, and the next show is called The Best of the US. You can hear this midnight hour time GMT every night, so 5 to 7 hours later for most of you. And we're about to go into a music montage that will show us what comes up in the next hour. Watch carefully here to these bits, hooks, which will change into bits of songs that we're going to play.
It's 0000 hours GMT.
The happiest music on earth.
Coming up. Mechanical Music Radio.
If you've never been a member of the Musical Box Society International, you'll get your... So it's me again. I'll just fade down output. We start every hour with an advert for a local society who support us. So the MBSI have been very good, giving us some ads in their magazine, so we return the favour. So you might hear an advert at the top of every hour for a local business or society. I'll come back and talk about the hooks, what we've just heard, the hooks coming up in just a minute, because that's quite interesting. But first, here comes the jingle. Half price. That's mbsi.org. The Musical Box Society International.
The sound of the carousel. Mechanical Music Radio's best of the US.
Right, it's me again. So we'll fade down the output and just talk about what's happened. At the top of every hour, we follow the similar structure of a time check in GMT to tell our worldwide listeners where we are in the schedule, because I know we go into summertime, you go into summertime, it all gets very complicated. So it's quite handy to have a GMT time check at the start of this hour. It was midnight, 00 hours GMT. And then we went into a bit of production that basically said, the happiest music on earth coming up. And there was a whoosh.
Music on Earth.
Coming up.
Whoosh. And then as that whoosh plays, it cues up the hooks. Now, this is a really clever system, and I only started using it about a year ago because it took a bit of programming. But what it does is it will pick 3 songs from the upcoming hour and basically sort of try and tempt the listener to listen for a bit longer or give them an idea of the sort of music that's coming up. So as you see, it's picked the Linkin Park Wurlitzer Row, 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 which we're playing there as song 2, and it picked Mark Reed's Wurlitzer with Love Dreams. That was song 6 in the hour. And then Copenhagen from Trudy, song 3. So it just gives you an idea of the sort of music you're going to come up. Obviously, we're into the best of the US, so it's all American band organs on the way. So a nice little way to tell people that that's what we're going to hear. After that, we just played a brief advertisement for the MBSI to support them. And then we went into the full version of a jingle. We've got many of these that have been recorded on different instruments through the years from different arrangers. Originally, when I launched the station 6 years ago, it sounds a bit odd, we played classical music jingles with this tune on. And because I was just looking for a recognizable bit of music, and I tried various things with bits of pieces of organ music and things like that. But I could never find anything that quite worked. So we started by using classical music jingles, which have this unique sort of da 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 da. And then I spoke to Hiddo van Os, who is an incredible arranger from Holland. I'm sure you'll know of Hiddo's work. And he very kindly did some versions for different scales of organs. I have the MIDI file, and I'm quite happy to distribute it to any of you. If you want to adapt it for your instruments, please do email me, and maybe we can get some recordings of new ones on. But we do enjoy the jingle. People love that. They sing it back to me. So we're into the hour, and as you can see, we've got 3 songs in a row here. Madonna Ruth, the Linkin Park Wurlitzer, which is playing now. You can see at the top here, we have a sort of a countdown bar. It just shows the sort of the progress through the song. So the song is 2 minutes 38. We're approaching halfway through that. The next track we're going to play is Trudy in just a minute. You can see these largely automated links from me at this time of night because I can only record so many programs in a day. So this looks like a 5-second thing that I'm going to do. The best of the States, showing off the best of the US here at Mechanical Music Radio. Okay, so that was very, very general. Some of them are longer than others, but they all rotate round. I've recorded many versions. As usual, I leave it up to you to decide what is live and what is not. I can't be there 24 hours a day, but we do quite a number of original programs a week, not just from me, but from other presenters as well. So just going down through the hour, you can see we do requests at around sort of 1:15 and 1:45 the hour, around sort of end 22, somewhere around there. And these requests at the minute are blank because they're waiting to ingest what someone requests on the website. And then as it goes to play the item, that fills. There's a lot of interest in the request system, and I'll come on to that in a minute in another video. Just before we go, though, we'll hear one more sweep little ident jingle, 7 seconds long, going into Trudy. And you can watch up here at the top to see it play out on the software. Here we go.
Find out about the instruments we play on our Discover pages at mechanicalmusicradio.com.
Well, I hope this isn't going into too much detail and it's very dull. I've got to, some people will find it fascinating and others will be like, I've no idea what's going on, but I'm trying to explain it in a clear way. And to be honest, it doesn't matter if you understand it or not, as long as you just tune in and you go, well, this sounds nice. But some people might be interested in the radio programming side. I get extremely geeky about such things just because I'm well, it's just a sad anorak, as we call them here in the UK. Radio anoraks is fantastic. So it took a long time to set up the station before launch. It took me nearly a couple of years to do. And there were a few occasions where I thought, no, it can't be done, too much work. And then I'd sort of come back to it and chip away and load some more music. And really, when we launched in 2018, we probably weren't ready. I had to firefight a lot of problems to start with. I ran the station off air for about 4 months with no one listening to it, just me monitoring it and seeing what it did. But I mean, you know, there's always something to do. You know, I'll get an email very kindly from a listener who says, this title is wrong, or, you know, some pieces, they all need to be marked in and out. Some of them I might have missed, so there was a bit of silence on the end before the next item kicked in. So there's always things to do. There is never, and obviously then you load even more music, and then there's more mistakes on that. So it's like a never-ending cycle of work, really. But I do enjoy it. It's fantastic. It's finding its level now. It's really good, and the presenters who are now doing programs most nights of the week really help me, because that's less things that I have to record. And it's lovely because I don't get to hear my own voice then. I get to hear someone else doing a show, which is super. So very briefly, we're just going to show you this final video, which will take you even further behind the scenes at the nuts and bolts of how we sort the music out and get the music mix that we want out of nearly 15,000 tracks that we've got on the database. So here is the final part of our tour.
So we've told you a little bit about the playout system, the music, and the things that are happening. I didn't mention this at the top, called Breakaway. This is our processor. It adds a very light compression onto all the music that we play. I've normalized all the tracks to make sure that they're at a similar level, but the compression just helps even out any other discrepancies. It just makes it sound a bit sort of bigger, really. Gives all the recordings a lift. I've adjusted the settings very carefully so the recordings aren't completely washed out, but yet just have a bit of a boost to make them sound the very best they can. And down here, this is our streamer. We're off air at the minute because we're currently on air on the backup computer, just while I record this video with you. But this is what we would use to push out to all the streamers. It's a great bit of software. Now, I'm going to take you behind the scenes through the back door. This is a program called Creator, and this is where all our music and jingles and rotations are stored. So, for instance, I've already told you about different track categories. As you'll see here, we've got all these myriad of different categories. There's loads, and all of these have music in. You can see this particular category, C2 concert, has over 1,000 tracks in, whereas C1 has 170. And so we go through and have a little look here. We got various categories for various things. A-list is sort of more modern things, so it's probably best if I go into track list. We can see now Bob Marley hits, Buddy Holly songs, Walking Back to Happiness, Killer Queen, 9 to 5. These are all sort of recognizable, maybe more pop tunes. And the reason they're in a separate category is because I don't want too many of them to appear, but enough. I want, perhaps one an hour to appear. Someone will enjoy that. And also, of course, we do shows called Party Saturday and the Happy Hour, where these tracks are played more frequently. And just having a look down through here, we got barrel instruments, be they barrel pianos or barrel organs. Concert organs, you can see the Beck Centenary, the West Fries, the Lotus Flute, the Bar Family's Carl Fry, all sorts in there. We've also got styles of music in there for certain shows that we do, like a classical music show. So there's different sort of classics there, Ride of the Valkyries, Hungarian Rhapsody, from orchestrions in particular in that case. Oh, you'll notice there, one of them says track 1. I need to sort that. I don't know how that's come up. Sometimes the tracks lose their metadata and I have to go in and tweak them. It's a never-ending cycle of work, this station. Dance organs, here we are, Monty, Mermin. We got all sorts here. Canada, Broadway, Clydesburg, fantastic instruments. And then into different categories, including fair organs, continental German fair organs, all the roofs and the brooders, etc. And there's, other things like orchestrions, American instruments, pianos. You can see we've got a vast database of music and all of it is rotated. We've also got some Dutch street organs in here. Christmas stuff, which obviously we only play at a certain time of year. And the archives, I was telling you about the mechanical music archives with different instruments digitized from records and cassettes. So it's really quite a complex, I've had to sort all of these instruments and pieces of music into different categories. There's quite a lot of thought that's gone into getting the computer to churn out different things. And the reason is because you build a rotation. So, for instance, if we go into the best of the US, which happens at midnight GMT, you can see here we've got 01 and 02 categories, which we've dragged across. I mean, if we were doing a different show, we might say, well, we want an A-list category, an A-list song in there, which we don't because we're doing American Halls, or we might want a barrel instrument in there. So that is literally how you're building things. And then when that category is selected, one of the tracks of the 376 in the 01 category will be selected. Similarly, there's over 1,000 tracks in the 02 category. So those will come around less frequent. The more popular ones, more popular pieces are in the 01 category, meaning they'll get more of an airing. But you can see that's quite a simple structure for an hour. And as we said before, 3 songs, usually a link from a presenter, 3 songs, request, into a little sort of a break announcement that we play for a society. And then 3 songs, link, 3 songs, break with request. So each hour follows the same structure. Looks simple, takes a long time to build an hour like this and make sure it schedules correctly. You can see in the brackets alongside how many items are in each category. So even the production here, we can see in the sweep category, the different sort of announcements from our voiceovers. There's 7 different ones that it can choose from there. 5 different announcements from the best of the US jingle. So it just basically goes through and shows you how many different things will be in rotation, and they'll rotate either randomly or in order depending on what I specify. So song categories at the top to build your playlist, and spot groups here at the bottom. And this all looks like a load of gobbledygook, but actually it's quite simple. The spot groups are basically the bits of production. And I was saying to you earlier, you know, I think playing jingles, playing a good mix of imaging and jingles is important to make it sound like a professional radio station. And we've got all sorts of little things in here, some of which maybe we don't play anymore. I need to go out and have a thin through the category. But we've got the different jingles that we play. We've got the sweepers. We've got the theme shows. So if I go into the spot groups here, we can have a look. So we've got trails for shows like Paul, who is on a Monday evening.
Me, Paul Kirage, every Monday evening from 1900 hours on the Continental Carousel. 2 hours of the very best German fairground organ music. And if you miss it, you can listen anytime you like by searching the Continental Carousel on mechanicalmusicradio.com.
There you go, a little plug there for Paul's show, which is great on a Monday evening. He's a fantastic broadcaster. And we've got trails for Graham and Ian and James Dundon, never heard of him. And different specialist shows we do, like Dance Organ Friday. So again, if we have a little listen.
Every day, tune in for a different musical theme. Today is Dance Organ Friday. Start your weekend with some feel-good music from the best iconic dance organs. From Mortier pipe organs, to semi-electronic to caps. Dance Organ Friday, this evening from 2100 hours.
So there's an example of a trail for Dance Organ Friday. Obviously, there's more than one of that because we do the show more than once a day. So we have different times playing in different things. So if we actually have a look at the schedule restrictions, you can see it's only on a Friday it's allowed, and only between 1 p.m. and 2000 hours because the show's on at 2100 hours. So I can put schedule restrictions in for that item, and then we know if we look at the history, we can see it's played on the 26th. We've got it scheduled a couple of times. So it doesn't get loads and loads of plays, but it's just one of many things in rotation. Some of the other trails might get a couple a day, maybe once a day. So things come round every now and then. And then aside from that, what else we got here? The sweeps, as I mentioned, these are the IDs that go between the songs.
Mechanical Music Radio.
So those are just the short ones in that particular category. As you can see, they get played quite a lot. So, you know, that particular one gets a good 20-odd plays in a day. Or even half a day by the look of it. And then we got other things here just going down through. I don't want to bore you, but like the full jingle, the full dance organ jingle, one of my favourites. Hiddo Van Os arranged that, and it's honestly incredible. I just think it's brilliant. It really is great. So we play that usually into the happy hour at 1500 hours. So you can see it comes most days into the happy hour, and other random times as well. It's selected like 2100 hours for Dance Organ Friday. It will come up there. So it's funny, isn't it? You sort of put things into categories and give them schedule restrictions, and they only come out around at certain times. And then just moving down through, we've got all our different specialist hours, like the Variety Hour.
The Variety Hour.
Mechanical Music Radio.
We've got the Best of the US.
The band organs you love. The best of the US.
Mechanical Music Radio.
So there's all sorts of different imaging for different shows, which come round in certain things. There's even sort of specialist things that we might do for Halloween.
Halloween on Mechanical Music Radio. I hear organs.
Absolutely ridiculous. And things like, I don't know, New Year's Day.
Mechanical Music Radio.
Wishing you a happy new year.
Whoopee! Christmas jingles. We just basically put sleigh bells on the existing jingles there. So you can see the computer has yards of production, stuff that I've built up over the last 6 years. I spent a lot of time doing that and doing the music and getting everything in the right place. So as I say, you can build a rotation. There's loads there. Those are the main ones that we sort of move in. You can see there's ones for presenters and our evening programs that we do. So for instance, let's have a look in Bob Yorberg's rotation that I built. So there's his voice track links to put in for, I've moved it around. And there's, so that's where he will record his links into the system. And then we've got different instruments around where he's talking, different sweeps. Presenter sweeper will mention his name, for instance. So that gives you a little behind the scenes look as to how we get the system to schedule the music. And we have to put it into the schedules. So Monday to Friday, well, Monday to Sunday, it's a different day entirely, more or less. So there's the Best of the US schedule that we've got at midnight, band organs and more at 1. We replay the presenter shows from 19 and 2000 hours the day before in the 2 to 4 a.m. slot for you guys to hear it in a more convenient time in your evening. And then we mentioned the Mechanical Music Show and Fairground Sounds, Iconic Instruments. You can see it's going through the day. Because it's a Monday, Paul Kirage is on, so we've got his show there. I've got the Request Hour. The Monday theme is... oh, God, I've gone blank. The Monday theme is... Monday in Concert. Sorry, I don't know why I would say. Obviously been waffling on far too long. The thing is, there's so much I can show you. It's a really incredible, powerful bit of software, and this is sort of industry standard software that most radio stations would use. They'd use something like this. And obviously there's so many rules. I can set up separation rules for songs. So at the minute, titles of songs are 15 hours apart. Artists or instruments, as we know them as, are 3 hours apart. There's loads of, you can even separate the album or the song in particular. You can even add codes into mood and energy and year and genre and whether it's a male or female artist. Other stations would do that. I literally haven't got enough time to do that on every track, so I don't bother with it. It does, because I've got them in individual categories of types of instrument, it's scheduling a really good rotation as it is. And if we go here, so I usually schedule a block of music a month at a time to give the presenters a chance to record. So here is all of March's programming. So if we go to Saturday, the 16th of March, and we go to the 10 o'clock hour, that is the song we're going to play. Of course, I can change it. I can go through and replace same artist. So here, the Bandit plays the Italian, but here, oh God, what have I clicked? Here we can do same artist. Oh, it's not liking it. Ah, here we go. It's coming up with the thing. Minor swing. Yeah, replace. So there you go. It's done that. And again, I can do instant replace any artist. So instead of the Rami Banjo Orchestra, we can have the Velte from the Frick Centre playing instead. That's taking it from the orchestrions category. I'm not going to save the changes to that because, there's no need to. So that is basically how I put the programs that you're hearing together.
And ladies and gentlemen, if I haven't bored you to tears, that's, it is so much to say and show you, but there's a little overview of how I've built up the station, and there's always tweaks that I make and new shows that we put in and different things that we try. It's an ever-evolving thing, like every radio station. You just see how you go. So I hope that didn't go down the rabbit hole too much, but gave you clear enough explanations. I'm looking forward to answering some questions. I'm sure you might have some.
James, I just want to say thank you. It was, I think, a terrific presentation in that we learned a lot. And also a few other things. I just want to point out two things. One is, I hope you notice the amount of work and dedication that James has put into making this a reality for all of us. And there were a couple of questions that popped up, and James, I don't think you could read them, but anyway, one person was saying that the app is not available on iPhone 15, something you may want to look into. Someone else asked, how do they make a contribution to your radio station. Before you answer any questions, I want to remind everyone it is 1 a.m. for James right now. He's been very generous and kind to offer to present live to us. So please, obviously, we want you to ask questions, but let's not go on for hours because he has to get up early and go to work. So we're opening it up for questions now. Thank you, James.
So we have a couple of questions that came up during the presentation.
Yeah.
Dale wants to know, where do you get all the music?
It's a collection I built up through the years, through CDs that I've bought and records and cassettes. Must have spent a blooming fortune. And also I've been very lucky that I had some friends that helped me out originally because they digitized a lot of CDs and things that I'd bought through the years as well. So because they'd already digitized it, I didn't need to rip it in. So that saved a lot of effort. And some other people, I've recorded off records. And some of the presenters like Graham Kidd, I've then transferred him like the 45-minute file of it all played off, and then he's chopped the tracks and labeled them for me and transferred them back, which takes a lot of time. So that's brilliant because that just frees me up. And because, it's only me that can do the backdoor stuff here because only me can access the backdoor stuff on the computer. But we get some bits and, people send music, and every month I have a bit of a loading session and add a few new things and try and keep on top of the inbox. So it's really good. So I'd thank everyone for donating music very much.
Well, it's good that I've been able to help in some way too, especially from the US,
Brilliant, David. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Yep, and I've got one big question. You have been working up on your playlist for that long? I gotta say, how long did it get you to work it all out?
It's ongoing, David. I'm always making adjustments as to what goes in what category, and sometimes I go, well, that doesn't quite work, we'll shift that round. So yes, it's just sort of every day you get a little bit closer to perfection, but you'll never quite reach that goal, I don't think. But yeah, no, it's we are getting there. I'll just catch up on some other questions as well, just coming in. Someone asked about the app. That's an issue because the company that provided our app went, well, they ended the business for whatever reason. So we had an app for 3 years. It was fantastic, so stable, professional company, and then they've just decided to close the business. And with that, of course, the app's fallen off the App Store. So people who have the app already installed onto their phone, no problem, it continues to work. But new people coming along, and I've sought quotes for a replacement app, and been quite alarmed at the cost. And I'm still looking at, because money is always the issue. So it's a work in progress. I'm still trying to find a quote for an app that will do what we want in a budget, really. So leave it with me. It's a real, that's a real shame because I know so many people use it on tablets and phones, but everything's on Listen Again now. So if on your tablet or phone you've got a podcast app, you can just search for Mechanical Music Radio and you can listen on the podcast app, Listen Again. And also we're on a lot of streaming sites like MyTuner Radio. They've got their own app and we're one of the stations you can favorite on there. And the good thing about the podcast stuff as well, you can actually download any of the programs to your device. And then that means you don't need 4G or Wi-Fi to listen. So if you're in a workshop that doesn't have any signal, or if you're on a long car journey where the signal's a bit patchy, you can download the program and listen however you like.
Okay, so someone here asked how they can get involved with making a contribution to the station. And I guess that could be either financially or musically. Yeah,
musically. Send me an email on the website and we'll have a little chat about what you've got. And WeTransfer is a good way of transferring files over. So we can have a little look, and it's always worth me checking that I haven't already got the instrument or the files that you're going to send before you go to the effort of doing that for me. Financially, we are, we have a 1 advert an hour, which just helps cover basic monthly costs as we go. But it's always difficult because it's like I've got the app to sort out, which is probably going to be, I'm budgeting for around 600 quid a year for that. And last week I looked in the current account after I started paying some bills, because obviously we're coming up to the 6th birthday. So the software needs renewing, the streaming licenses need paying, music licensing, etc. And I had £10.67 in the Mechanical Music Radio account 2 weeks ago. And then I put a plea on air and said, would anyone like to give a little donation? And we've had some money that started topping up. So it's just trying to build those reserves up to the point where it can last the next 12 months, really. So yes, you can make a donation on our website quite easily. You can do a monthly donation, or you can do a one-off, whatever you'd like. And if you have a mechanical music business or any, thing that you think enthusiasts might be interested in, we do very affordable advertising, and you can be a part of it, and we can do a bit in return for you, hopefully.
Okay, so the next question was, someone had experience with college radio, and it was required here by the FCC to have a station identification at the top of the hour. Do you have that requirement in streaming radio?
No, I've never heard of that, I must admit. So that's interesting. I don't know an awful lot about American radio, I must admit. But because we're a UK station based in the UK, I wouldn't think that would apply to us. I mean, we've got idents throughout the hours saying what we are and what we do. And it's clearly put on our website. So interesting. I'll have to look into that. I've not heard of that before, just from my own geeky point of view. But internet radio is largely a free-for-all. You've got to pay some music licensing for the country that you broadcast from, which we do. And that's what we do. Just having a look through some of the other questions here. Dr. Russell says generating revenue. Again, one advert I usually get on at the top of the hour, just as a sort of a sponsor for that hour, but the money is tiny. It's just to literally just help on top of the donations, just to cover costs. We never turn a profit, and I don't want to make money from it, because then it starts becoming a job. So this is why, I work 6 days a week at the BBC. I'm a very busy person, and then I just do this in the evenings and on my day off and try and keep things ticking over. So it was always going to be a hobby, and I never want to do it as a business. That was never the plan. It's a station that hopefully gives something back to you, the enthusiasts, and also encourages new people into the world of mechanical music. That's what I'm hoping for. Tim says, do the presenters choose their own music? I think Bob could have something to say on this, because we've had these conversations. I try and theme the music to a presenter, and they get a sort of a basic structure of the hour of what sort of categories of music, and they can right click and replace a track if they don't like it. But most of them just roll with what they've got. I think the only, Ian certainly plays in a few of his own theatre organs and recordings that he's got in his personal collection. But aside from that, yeah. Also one from Tim about the request slot. What happens in a request slot when no one makes a request? The computer fills it, which is amazing. Because otherwise you have silence. And that's always exciting. When you go into the request hour at 10 p.m, there is no music in that hour. It's just blank. And then it starts filling up based on what people request. And what I'd say is, when you make your request selections, go for different instruments. Don't request 6 of the same instrument, because the computer won't play it, because it separates them, a maximum of 1 instrument per hour of that type. Because otherwise, all the other listeners will go, oh, I hate that instrument. I can't stand listening to that 6 times in a row. I'm tuning out. So you have the power to request, but use the power responsibly, and remember other people are listening to the station. It's always good. Craig says, how do you deal with copyrights? Again, with CD recordings, when they made the CDs, I don't know about the US, but in the UK, you've got to get PPL license to record and distribute music, and that covers the rights of broadcasting it on a radio station. Because we're an internet station, I don't need to do detailed music returns to PRS and PPL. I just do a basic return. That's all they ask of me, because we're quite small in, you know, next to big commercial stations, etc. We haven't got millions of people listening to us. So literally they just want to know how many tracks I'm playing an hour and a rough listener figure based on IP addresses that are tuned in. And that is the information that they need, not detailed reports of what tracks we've played when. Roger Wiegand says about copyright for putting it on YouTube. I don't know. It's a grey area, YouTube, isn't it? You can go on there and see any music video from any artist through the years, and likewise, loads of organ videos, and I don't know. You tell me. But I'm always very careful. I don't want to take the mickey, and if anyone ever has any problem with me playing their music, it's taken off, absolutely. But very luckily, most people are very supportive of the station and understanding it's, you know, trying to be for the greater good and encouraging new people into the scene, and you know, giving a bit of joy to enthusiasts. Marcy says, wondering about your logo, a microphone barrel with note punches in it. Yeah, my friend Matt designed that for me, because I didn't know what to do about a logo. And Matt, I used to work with at a radio station, and he's a great graphic designer as well. So he did that for me, and I love it. I think it's a great logo. So I'm very lucky, because I'm not very good with things like that. So thank you very much. I'm just seeing what we've got here. Thank you, Craig, for your comments.
You have 3 people asking, how do you measure or how many people are missing or listening? How do you know your listeners?
So it's based on, I can do it looking at the stats across a day or a week or a month on IP addresses that are tuning in. And with Listen Again, the data I get from that is basically clicks on a show. And with Listen Again, I suppose if someone clicks on a show and listens to 5 seconds of it, that's 1 click. If someone clicks on a show and listens to an hour of it, that's still 1 click. So we have roughly, and it's quite sporadic in some ways, but I'd say we have about 15 to 17,000 listeners a month, which I think is very good for a niche genre of music. That's incredible. My God. And then some months is less. Christmas, people absolutely go mad for Christmas. January is always a bit of a slump, and then it sort of starts to pick up. So it is really, really interesting. And it's interesting to see the countries as well. So the UK is our biggest audience because we're a UK-based station. And the States is, you know, we get quite a lot of listeners from the States. And then Germany, and then the Netherlands. And then Russia, interestingly, is our 5th most popular region, which I always find amazing. And Belgium and Canada and Italy and France. So these are all places that we know have a big mechanical music collection. Not sure about the Russian thing. I kind of wonder whether they might be bots listening in. I don't know. Hopefully President Putin isn't an organ fan who's got a secret collection in his underground lair. I've no idea. But it could be interesting. But I do wonder whether, you know, how many of these internet bots are around. We've heard a lot of news stories about such things, so maybe that's why they get so high up in the chart, because there's just a couple of bots that are listening 24 hours a day. Occasionally I reset the server just to kick them off, and you know, but I don't know. Very interesting, isn't it? Just seeing what's that. Stephen says, sometimes hear the audio getting very soft. What causes that? Is somebody not paying attention? I don't know. I've never experienced that myself. Audio getting soft. Stephen, if you email me with some more specifics, I'm interested about that. Peter, thank you for spreading the word in Australia. Great to hear from you. All saying great presentation. Thank you. Marcy, interesting stuff about YouTube. Google's pays royalties, most music not in the public domain. I have known people who post organ videos just be removed from YouTube, just go, which is a bit odd. And obviously this is why I'm always nervous using exterior platforms that I have no control over. And I really was just posting the live shows up on YouTube just because you'd be surprised the amount of people that pick it up and go, oh, wait, there's a radio station that does this. And then they'll listen. So because, you know, that's why I launched on a website streaming platform, because I'm in control of the platform and responsible for its output. And I pay the licensing and the buck stops with me. Whereas obviously, you know, if you start uploading things to these second platforms, yeah, it can be a bit of a grey area. Russell says, would you consider allowing someone who has a large collection of music rolls for their player piano to make contributions? Yes, please. Haven't got enough pianos on the station. We do a mechanical music show at 400 hours GMT, which will be for you at about, what, 11 p.m., something like that? And that is just orchestrions, pianos, and musical boxes, no mechanical organs. Our audience, we play predominantly mechanical organs just because that seems to be what people want. I did used to play a lot more orchestrions and pianos, and you know, it seems that they're not for everyone. For some reason, we've just attracted a mechanical organ audience, and that's what we've just gone after years of trying to do a more balanced music mix. But we still do these theme shows where we try and balance things out a little bit. So yes, Russell, be in touch with me. That would be super. Any other questions from the floor?
James, I think it's time we thank you for your incredible efforts and allow you to get a couple of hours of sleep before you go to work. And I just think it was really well received because we haven't had anything like this ever on our presentations. So once again, we all thank you and look forward to hearing wonderful things on your radio station.
And
Brilliant.
as much as I could stay and watch forever, it's getting late for me too.
That's right, David. It's time.
I could stay and watch forever, but it's getting near 9 o'clock for me.
Oh, blimey, that's a late night.
One more.
Hey, James.
Real quick. Okay.
Hi, James.
Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, James. You remember me?
No. Tell them who you are.
I am Kaylana.
Hey, Kaylana.
Hey, James. How are ya?
Great to meet you. I'm really well. Kaylana sends me lovely emails and requests every night. What's your favorite organ, Kaylana?
My favorite organ is the Bill Black Wurlitzer 153. I actually got that on the list right now.
Yeah, okay.
Brilliant. She's there. Are you listening right now instead of the presentation then, Kaylana?
Oh, it's in the background.
Fantastic.
James.
Yes.
Right now we're hearing a Stinson 165.
And who can't get enough of Bill's 153? It's the best one at ATT, right?
Well, David, ATT has 3. 2 working, 1 gutted.
I would also, I'd like to say that coming up on the Wonders of Mechanical Music and Carousels, we're going to have a behind-the-scenes tour of American Treasure Tours. So you'll get to see some of these things.
You hear that, Kevin? You best be ready.
That's going to be super. Look, just before I leave, I just wanted to say this is a great initiative that's been started up. So congratulations to the team behind it, and well done to all of you for embracing it and joining these meetings. I really do think it's super. We haven't got anything like this in the UK. So congratulations, because there's a lot of hard work goes on behind the scenes to put on these Zoom meetings. So congratulations to all involved in it. A really great initiative. I think anything that sort of we've got technology, we've got opportunities to get the word of mechanical music out there, which is really good. And so far as the radio station goes, please request, please send me an email, please listen. We're on Alexa speakers as well. If you say launch mechanical music radio, it will play it on your speaker. And those Alexa speakers are quite good. You can plug them into your hi-fi so you get nice surround sound if you've got a system like that, so it sounds even better. And all the programs are on Listen Again. And I really appreciate all of your support as we go into our 6th year. I must admit, when I launched it, I think I got to day 4. And I thought, I don't know, I can do this, because I was trying to do the job on the thing, and we had all these technical issues, things, we weren't quite ready, in theory, for launch. But you could never be ready to launch something like this. So I think, we've problem solved as we've gone along, and it's been a really fun journey. So I really hope I'm going to grow old with this thing still on air. We'll just have to see. But meantime, enjoy the music, and lovely to meet you all. Keep in touch. Thank you so much.